Okay.
No.
So, um, okay, that should be it. All right, we're all set. So, as you know, I lost my phone yesterday. Oh, okay. When I did it, I took away the side by side. See that? That's weird. Anyway, so what had happened was I had my daughter. We went to catch air, and she was having a time. And I got into a little tiff with this young lady that was there with me, and things got out of hand quickly. It escalated.
Was your daughter present?
Oh no, nothing physical. You know, I
Oh,
don't do those.
okay.
I don't do those. I don't do those.
Okay.
I don't do those. But it got kind of ugly. Even though I don't do it, the police were called. No issues on my end. I don't do anything. And it was just kind of like, all right, you know what? I think that we should all woosah. And I did my de-escalation thing. And she wanted to be friends, and I just wanted to get away. And in my haste to escape, I somehow dropped my phone. And I guess in retribution for me running, because
Like that, like
I
that,
don't
like
do
a
those
Megan Good's
things.
husband.
Anybody with damn sense, in my escalation, at some point I dropped my phone, and so the retaliation was take my phone and keep it. But it was a very old phone that I've been wanting to replace for a year anyway. And I'm upgraded, but it won't be here till Tuesday. But what I do is I take all of my notes on that phone, then I copy and paste it and put it in an email, and that's how I receive it here. I have two phones. This is the phone that I used for you today was my other phone. I don't think you had the number. It's my business phone for filming. So it's really all my film related stuff, but at least I have something, and it's recording me talking right now. Oh
That's why I
boy.
said, you rush to go live, but
No, well, I mean, because people should be coming in right now, and I don't want them waiting. I got somebody waiting to be able to run everything before we to run everything basically. And so I told them 5 minutes, and it took me seven. So I was like, let me get on here and be diligent at my job. And so I did some research, and one of the things I came across was an impeachment that was supposed to be going on tomorrow. And I saw none of the mainstream media reported it. So I'm looking and I'm looking and I'm like, oh wow, this is breaking and mainstream media is hiding it. This is wild. But then when nobody was reporting it, and
yeah,
I
because I
dug
was
deeper
looking for
now,
it too.
you got to understand. Normally I have 3 4 days to do my research. I had to research everything and validate everything today. So um, I found several different stations reporting on the supposed impeachment. And I'm having this conversation with you now for the audience because I want it to be understood that we are the media, right? That's your thing. So I need the audience to understand as they're listening. I'm doing research. I found 6 or 7 different platforms that were reporting on this. They were all from one company. All of them had hundreds of thousands of views. One of them only had like a few hundred, a few thousand, but they was only up for 15 minutes. And all these news stations were reporting this fake news. So with them all making the same report and it being seeming to be in several different places, understand how easy it is for misinformation to be spread. And that's it. That's it. That was what I wanted to talk about. Be careful because as we move forward, everybody knows that the mainstream media can't be trusted. thanks to Donald Trump. One good thing that he did.
Yes, you're fake. Sit down, you're fake. Fake news.
So, with that being said, we are the media, as you like to say. So, what does that leave us? That means that some of us have to practice integrity, journalistic integrity. We got to be real. We got to
That's right.
do our due diligence, like I did today. Even though I saw that thing popping up everywhere, now I can report that it's out there and it's fake. And we got to be more diligent to report without fear or favor, and make sure that our audience gets the real news, even if it's from either side. At least it's coming from a place of honesty versus somebody making up something with AI or with bots from Africa, for that matter. Whoever might have been the source of that, it is something that happened. That's not a shot at the Trump administration. This is what we're dealing with. Like that happened. And the same thing as this happened today, where it was like, "Oh, Trump is he's about to be impeached." Blah blah blah. It's fake news.
But it's
So,
news people want to hear. That's why people want a lot of clicks. Anything with Donald Trump, especially his demise. Oh, yes, thank God.
well, even with his rising to power with the bots in Africa, so on either side, it's still the same thing because that's where a lot of the QAnon people got their crazy theories from was the bots in Africa, according to what it looked like that Elon Musk showed the world. So it's not just against Trump; it's for Trump. It's fake news. You got to be leery. Find trusted sources, even if you're using alternative media. Find places like here that's a safe space that you can come to, and we're going to give you the news as best we can with some type of integrity behind it, and not just give you all nonsense. We vet the news, which is why I was able to report on this today because I did the proper vetting. So even Dion, he was doing his research, he was vetting it for us, right?
I couldn't find it. So I was like, okay, maybe
Right, he was
some of the
vetting
stuff you
it.
said I couldn't find. So I was like, I don't know.
That was the vetting process. That's you going through assuring that what we're reporting
Hmm.
is real. If it's not, then we got to find it and be like, yo, this is not happening for real. That's journalistic integrity. That's so. I just wanted to share what happened because it led to me on because I was rushing now and didn't have time to vet the way I normally do throughout the week or between stories, and I almost got caught in a fake story because they had like 6, 7 different places with it up. I'll show it to you. No, I'm not going to do all that. I'm not wasting my time giving them more views, but it was everywhere, and I couldn't find it any place. And they had different AI robots doing it that you can't really tell it's AI. The first giveaways, 3 different people said the exact same framing, and I have a mind where I can capture like phrases, and they use the exact same phrases, and I'm like, okay, so you're reading from the same script. All of them didn't do that, but that was the first thing. Like the second thing, first thing was hard to find any place. Second thing was they was all reading from the same script. But anyway, we do have a lot to report that's actually valid that we can talk about. Um, where do we start? Maybe in Minnesota
Oh boy.
first. I don't know. Let me verify that we're on. Let me verify that we're going before we get started. No, it doesn't seem to be in motion yet. So I was rushing to get here and we're going to get going. And I'm sure that the team will catch up. Just trying to get going because a lot of the people that work with us are not from this country and it's a little bit later where they're at. And they make sure to take care of me, even if it's, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning where they are. So I try and get going with them as fast as I can. But it's good to have people that are strong and supportive of us. Um, The guy that handles my lives is a guy named Supernoy. Supernoy is wonderful. He makes our numbers work. He lets y'all know that we on. So shout out to Supernoy as we get started. And as we get started, welcome to the think tank, where we use critical thinking, deductive reasoning, and just a pinch of common sense to draw unbiased and logical conclusions. I'm your host, Leonard Sanderson. If you like political content that is against the mainstream media, that we practice reporting without fear or favor, that we vet our information so we can bring you the truth and still give you balance, because you get both sides. You get the pro-Trump, and right now I'm as anti-Trump as it gets. I'm as anti-Trump as could possibly be at this point. Then, and that way you hear both sides and you can come up with your own solutions. If that's the kind of content you like to consume, please like, share, subscribe. Click the subscribe button. You'll get to hear us all the time. But with no further ado, my partner in crime, the Honorable Dion Powell. Dion.
Hi, everybody. As you can see from the t-shirt, it says your city, your voice, your vote. Because I'm District Leader Dion Powell of the Bronx Conservative Party. I'm a strategic solutionist and a community consultant. So I'm trying to get everybody together and organized under our leadership here to leave the left and come to the center right. Back to you, Leo.
And I'm just for truth, justice, and the American way. I'm your mother, Superman. You heard? All right, so here we go. That's right. We edit. Like I give it to y'all from. I have a little bit of common sense, but I don't try and be like, well, I'm a stuffed shirt. Later for all that, y'all get that from everybody else. You can come here, you can get it real, but you can get the same information because I can dissect the information like the best of them. I promise you. And we're going to start off in Minnesota. There was a young lady named Jonathan Roth. I believe I should probably pull up the video. Oh, I'm sorry, no, Jonathan Roth was the murderer. There was a young lady named Renee Goode. Renee is a special name to me. I got to help a young lady who ran away from home at the age of 15, and against my better judgment, her friends asked me to let her stay with me until I could convince her to go home. Not gonna give her last name, and I got her to go home, and she lived happily ever after. But having a teenage girl that didn't belong to me in the house was a scary thing, because one wrong accusation and that could have been very left, but it did not happen. Thank God.
Well, wrong.
Uh,
Watch this. One wrong accusation, 20 years later, still dot dot
like,
dot.
yo, it's funny, but not.
Did you
But
see that
word.
Tyrese video of him crying? He said 50 Cent gave him the best advice ever, and he didn't listen. So you see, fellas, hashtag passport bros. That's the intermission commercial I'm giving you.
I don't know what you're talking about, but you can tell me offline. But yeah, I did the right thing, and she was grateful. I tried to stay in touch to see how she was throughout her life, but unfortunately, it didn't work out that way. And I backed off because I didn't want her to get the wrong impression. Like, because it was scary, but she did good, thankfully, and I'm proud of it. I did good. But if I had to do it over again, I don't think that I would. The only place I could find this video right now is on Facebook. Um, which is weird. You would think I'd be able to find this video. How do I pause this? All right. So this is a good shot of it. We're going to share it, and so that y'all know what we're talking about. I'll share the sound. I don't know if there's any sound. Oh, that happened. All right. So there's an officer trying to stop a woman from pulling off.
Ice.
This is an ICE officer, and she tried to pull off, so he shot her. Oh my God. He's still shooting her from the side of the car. Like he was standing next to her, shooting her in the face.
Okay, and what's the point here?
There are rules.
To engagement.
that police officers are supposed to follow.
They're not police officers, they're federal agents.
Federal agents are still officers that have to comply with laws. They
Okay,
don't.
and what about the citizenry using a vehicle as a weapon? What the hell was she doing there in the first place with a vehicle?
Okay, so because you cannot just randomly drop bombs on people in boats and stand next to
That has
somebody
nothing
and
to do
shoot.
with this.
It does. It shows a pattern of behavior. It shows a pattern of behavior, a decisive pattern of behavior from this administration.
Yeah, yeah, Donald Trump's behind it all, right?
He's covering for it. He's covering for it. He's now complicit. He's sat there and watched the same
God.
thing that we watched, where, and we saw it on camera when he saw it, and you know he's being given misinformation, right? And here's how you know, because he watched it. Before he watched it, he was saying, "Oh, she was getting attacked, but he was getting what is this gentleman's name? Let us call this officer by the name that he is." When Jonathan Roth was got hit by a car and he shot her, that was what Trump was saying. Then someone played the video in front of him, and he was like, "Biden." That was his response. Biden. He refused to comment on the lawlessness, the attack, the murder that was committed that we just watched. You're saying the saying that he was attacked by a car. You cannot be attacked by a car if he's standing on the side of it. Rules that officers have to. You cannot attack someone. You cannot use lethal force on someone that does not have a weapon. That's illegal. You can't leave the scene of a crime. The officer left afterwards. The
I'm
person
sure
needed
there's
med.
more to the story than that whole 12 seconds, if that much. There's got to be more to the story. Federal agents, ICE agents at that, in the street with a car. There's got to be more to the story than that. It has to be. There's
Yes,
no
there
way.
was.
There's got to
Allow
be
me to.
at least a half an hour more footage before that.
No, there was only about 3 minutes worth of footage. And I saw it. I will see if I can find it for you, being that this is so highly contested on your end as to be expected. Because what happened was she was there, she was protesting, and she tried to flee, and then he shot her. Now, more things have come out since then, and we know why he did this, but his reasons were worse. So apparently, this man was suffering. This is coming from the Trump administration. Apparently, this was their defense. This was their defense. Apparently, this man was experiencing PTSD. That's not the label they use, but mark my words, you heard it here first. I'm breaking it. He was suffering from PTSD. It's
Oh
breaking
God.
here right now, live. Now, why do I say PTSD? In a previous attempt at an arrest, Jonathan, I want to get his name right. Jonathan Roth got hit by a car and was drugged for several feet. I don't remember how far.
Okay,
Let's
I
take
see
a
what
look at.
this is now. Yeah, because the notes are broken. Okay, I think what your notes are saying is different. Okay, Jonathan Roth. Or is that somebody else? Let's see.
That's him. Let's see if
Okay,
we
I
can
see.
find it
That's
right
one
away.
paragraph. Minnesota refuses ICE facilities and you mush it together. 1,000 troops sent after murder Renee by Jonathan Roth, blah, blah, blah. And then Trump calls exoneration of Jonathan Roth. Okay, okay, I understand now.
Well, I write it in a certain way. We'll go over it afterwards so I can explain it to you so that you understand when you're looking at future episodes. It's not mushed together. It's put together in a certain way that I can find it. But I'll explain it to you later. I have a technique. But before that, let's dive into who Jonathan Roth is.
Oh boy.
It appears there's a misunderstanding regarding the person mentioned. The news reports detail an incident where a federal agent named Jonathan Ross, maybe I had his name wrong, was dragged by a car. So it's Ross, not Roth. I'm pronouncing his name wrong. Jonathan Ross was an ICE Immigration and Customs Enforcement agent involved in a June 2025 incident in Bloomington, Minnesota. During an arrest, the driver of a vehicle, Robert Carlos Munoz Guatemala, attempted to flee, dragging Officer Ross for approximately 300 feet, 100 yards. Isn't that like a football field? Before he was thrown free. Ross sustained injuries in the incident. So this man suffered an immense, horrible situation with getting hit by a car. So in a PTSD flashback episode, he saw a car and went into a fit, and in his rage, he just let off shots into this car and shot this woman in the face several times. This man's life was not in danger. He was suffering from PTSD. We saw the footage.
What, 12 seconds at best? I don't know, man. I don't know what should be my response to this one, family. You could judge for yourself, but there's no way that you got two ICE agents in the streets with a SUV that's not even parked, driven, or straight. You see what I'm saying? There's got to be more to the story than this. Some could argue she's there to protect freedom, obstruct justice, something, but it's got to be more to the story.
She was unarmed.
Yeah, that's a bad. Well, let's say maybe she was in the wrong place at the wrong time, and the ICE
No,
agent
no,
said, "Hey,
she
you can't
she
be
was
there."
there. She was there to obstruct, but
Thank you. All right, good. Woo, now we're getting to
none
the
of
point.
none of no, but she did not do anything that required somebody trying to kill her.
Oh
She was
God.
unalived for being a demonstrator. Something that I told you was going to happen back in April. I told you it was going to escalate to
Another
this.
peaceful protest gone wrong.
I told you it was going to escalate to this. We here at the think tank knew by looking at the pattern of developing behavior as escalations occurred that the eventuality was that someone was going to be unalived by an ICE agent based on their erratic and uncontrolled behavior. It was inevitable. This was an inevitability. This is an inevitability that was created by lack of any type of enforcement, like by lack of accountability, by lack of the administration stopping them because they were lawless, unaccountable. I believe a lot of people like to use the term Gustavo, and they just went and did what they wanted without consequence.
Oh God.
Eventually, something like this was going to happen. In the real world, if an officer was drugged for 300 feet, he'd be sat down behind a desk and get therapy, not thrown back on the streets. And that's federal on down. This is not because, oh, well, they're a federal agency. That sounds ridiculous.
Well, that
They're
seems like more left-leaning reporting. But if you're on the center right, you always also look at Miss Renee. Why was she doing there? Was she Trump the range? Was she obsessed with trying to fight ICE to protect migrants? What's her side story of the convo? That's my question.
none of those answers, none of the answers to the
Doesn't matter,
questions.
right? Doesn't matter.
Well, you tell me how any of those answers would allow an ICE agent to shoot her in the face. Give me one scenario where she was unarmed, as she was, on camera, and shot in the face from the side of the car. Where obviously, if you're standing on the side of the car, it's not being used as a
Well,
weapon.
again, the usual answer is she was using the car as a Riggs and Murtaugh lethal weapon against ICE agents. That's the counter
But there was no
argument
one. But he
that
wasn't
I'm
in front of
making.
the car. He was on the side of it. You can't attack somebody with a car. What was she going to do? Flip the car and roll it over on top of him?
Was the car in motion? Yes.
Was the car heading towards him? No.
What was the intent of the car? Who knows?
Obviously, by the video, she could not. Where he was at, he could
12
not be hit by
seconds.
the car. He
We don't
literally.
know what happened a minute before that. Or
He
was the
could
car
not.
5 minutes before that?
Even the officer that was at the door did not attack her. Even the officer that was trying to arrest her did not pull out his gun and shoot her. He did that. And he suffers from PTSD, obviously. You try getting drugged in a car with 300 feet and see how you feel afterwards. Obvious PTSD. Where's his psychiatric evaluation? Why is he back on the street after such a traumatic experience? There's something very wrong with the fact he's there. And the fact that you're defending officers that committed such a heinous act is reprehensible. There's no reason. There's no good reason for it. There's nothing that you can say. There's nothing that could have been, nothing that she could have done from inside that car without a weapon to an officer on the side of the car.
I'll leave this up to the viewers and not on independent research. For me, I'm of the opinion, let's turn the page.
There's
more to that story. It's got to be more through that 12-second. I don't even think it was 12 seconds. It's of a clip. I think it was slow motion. That's why it was 12 seconds. Yikes.
It's disturbing that you would defend an officer doing something like that. Even Trump, when he saw the video, stopped defending it. Even Trump stopped. Instead of defending it, he started talking about other stuff. Even Trump would not defend that. So, I mean, you're going harder than Trump is. Give you that. Somebody on Reddit, let me see.
Let's see what we got over here.
Okay.
Okay, we got 3,500 people here. Thanks, my family.
Wow, thank you for joining us. Hope you're enjoying.
Let's see anything in the chat. Chrissy in the chat as always.
Oh, wow. So many people's in the chat. I'm trying to find the video and can't find the video. Just Chrissy. Hey, Chrissy, what's up? Thanks for the support. We love you. Why can't I find this video?
Wait a minute. We got 56 likes? That's amazing.
We're talking about breaking news, so I'm glad people are tuning in and enjoying. Thank you, guys. Please continue showing the support. Thank you. Am I spelling her name wrong? Is that what's happening? Let me try something different. Because this should pop right up. This should not be hard. Oh boy, graphic images. So I suppose I should warn y'all that this is graphic.
Oh God, let me close my eyes.
37-year-old Renee Goode. Trump administration.
Hold on, let's rewind and let's see what happens.
On Wednesday,
walked up to the
in
car,
Minneapolis, a federal agent
on the
fatally
side,
shot a motorist. 37-year-old Renee Goode. Trump administration.
Did not look like that. Did not look like
this? What the hell is this? That was like 4 seconds. Oh,
that's what happened. They ran up on the car. She tried to pull off.
They shot car on the street, parked sideways.
Okay,
that doesn't make no sense. This story has too many holes in it for me.
Wow, you're coming up with more discrepancies in the story than the officers and administration combined, literally. So you're so determined to push a narrative to get these officers off that even their lawyers and themselves won't refuse.
I'm just asking for more clips. What happened before, during, and after? That's how you tell a story, before, and after. What the hell was that? 2 seconds?
2 seconds of an unarmed person getting shot. They were unarmed. Yes, they were trying to get away from the masked men running up on them with guns. We'll give them that. I would be scared too. That's why we need masks off. We need insignias. You got masked men running up on the car, shooting her. That's what we have in that video. But for more transparency.
What is a car doing parked or just standing sideways on the road? There's got to be more to this damn story. There's got to be more to that damn story.
There's nothing that you can add to that story that defends that officer's actions.
Okay, well, I just want more information. How about that? I'm not defending anybody's actions. I'm just saying there's got to be more to that story.
I wonder what Fox News said about it.
No, really. There's got to be more to that story.
Oh, that right there is like, this is reprehensible.
When he fired 3 shots, filmed from different angles, appears to show the agent was not in the path of the victim's SUV when he fired 3 shots at close range. Here's how events unfolded.
Okay, let's see how it's unfolded.
Moments before the shooting, the victim's maroon SUV is stopped in the middle of the street. Multiple unmarked federal vehicles are idling nearby. Secretary Noem alleged the motorist, quote, was blocking the officers in. Bystanders are blowing whistles and yelling at federal agents.
Go home to Texas!
Then, federal vehicles start moving toward the maroon SUV, with sirens and lights blaring. A federal agent films the scene on his phone. The driver rolls forward slightly, turning left, then stops and waves for others to go ahead. Two agents exit this silver pickup and walk toward the vehicle. Moments later, shots are fired. Let's look at the scene again more closely. This is the agent who shoots the driver. He walks around the car filming and disappears from view. Other agents pull up and order the driver to exit her vehicle. One of them grabs at the door handle and reaches inside. The SUV reverses, then turns right, apparently attempting to leave. At the same time, the agent filming crosses toward the left of the vehicle and grabs his gun. He opens fire on the motorist and continues shooting as she drives past. The moment the agent fires, he is standing here, to the left of the SUV, and the wheels are pointing to the right, away from the agent. This appears to conflict with allegations that the SUV was ramming or about to ram the officer. President Trump and others said the federal agent was hit by the SUV, often pointing to another video filmed from a different angle.
She was already dead there.
And it's true that at this moment in this grainy low-resolution footage, it does look like the agent is being struck by the SUV. But when we synchronize it with the first clip, we can see the agent is not being run over. In fact, his feet are positioned away from the SUV. The SUV crashes into a white car parked down the road. A bystander runs toward the collision. The federal agents on scene do not appear to rush to provide emergency medical care. Eventually, the agent who shot the motorist approaches the vehicle. Seconds later, he turns back around and tells his colleagues to call 911.
Shame! You shot someone! You shot someone!
Agents block several bystanders who attempt to provide medical care, including one who identifies himself as a physician.
I go check a pulse!
No! Back up! Now!
I'm a physician!
I don't care!
At the same time, several agents, including the agent who opened fire, get in their vehicles and drive off, apparently altering the active crime scene.
Good old New York Times. Wow. Good old New York Times. And the media's probably going to put this on loop. You know, it's a shame what happened. But for me, I still have more questions than answers. Now what, Leon?
Dion.
What do you want to see happen? That's what happened. So far, a car was in the street. ICE ran up on them and told them to get out the car and then shot this person. And that's how the story happened. That's the beginning, middle, and end. Okay. That's what
Thank you, Chrissy. Yes, yes,
that's what we're supposed to
Constitution,
believe.
Second Amendment, whatever. The First Amendment, isn't it? The right to, yes, First Amendment. So, for you, it's not enough answers. Watching the full video, showing these agents running up, this guy circling the car, pulling the gun out, obviously planning to murder this woman, and then doing so. All of that, none of that matters to you. You have more questions. I don't think you're using journalistic integrity. I think you're showing favor.
Integrity. Why was the car on the road turned that way? That's my question.
The car was on the road, turned that way, blocking federal agents. Then, when she tried to pull off, as shown in the video, cars was coming through, so she let the cars come through. And while she was letting the cars come through, the feds ran up on her. And when dude started pulling, like, yo, she tried to get out of there. Dude was pulling his gun. I would have been scared too. You got masked men with guns, pulling guns on you. What would you do? I mean, yeah, she would stay there because everything's fine, right? We're black.
I don't
Probably
think
not a
I'll
good
be.
idea.
I don't think I'll be in. When I see ICE, I think I'll go in the opposite direction. How's that sound?
Oh,
But
I
again,
see. Well,
this is
no,
a
no.
tragedy.
This
That's what
is
we're supposed to
Germany.
say. As
This is
journalists, we're supposed to
Germany.
say
You can't
sense.
practice your First Amendment rights. This is Germany. God
Huh?
forbid you practice your First Amendment rights of assembly.
Well, long story short, this is a tragedy that I'm sure could have been avoided. That's how I feel about it.
Yes, by ICE agents not illegally being assembled in Minnesota. How about that? Let's start there.
With this stuff going on with the Somalis and our mandate from voting for Trump in 2024 to get rid of all the illegals, I don't see why not. Make sense? The man ran on deportation, one, and then on top of that, these ungrateful Somalis and their schemes and this fraud with the daycares. So you see, I guess that's the reason why ICE needs to be over there more so.
How about, because I'm hearing where you're coming from, how about I got a different angle on this? How about
Sure.
maybe, just maybe something should be done about these rogue ICE agents running around harassing US citizens and, I don't know, shooting. This is not the first, from what I
I don't
understand.
know how they harass them. That's the first thing. I don't understand that. Now, if she
Well,
was parked somewhere, maybe, but to have her car turned sideways in the road like that, blocking traffic, I don't know. That's my
that's ICE is not police. That's a police matter. ICE ran up on her. Because of how she was parked in the street is not their jurisdiction. They're federal agents. It's
I
not a
want to know
federal
the whole
crime.
story. So far, this doesn't satisfy me, these clips. It's tragic that she got shot and died, yes. However, there has to be more to the story. There has to
Yes,
be.
the moral to the story was the cop had PTSD.
I want to know why she was parked that way. I want to know why ICE was going in that same direction in the first place. What was the cause of this effect, is my question.
No matter what led them to that situation, the way it was handled was illegal. Is that not simple enough? The way the situation was handled was illegal. You don't shoot an unarmed person. You don't bomb people that's out fishing without what like yo. You do not do double taps. This administration is behind the unaliving of innocent people. That's where we're at, and we're seeing it time and again, over and over. That's what we're watching. This administration backing the unaliving of regular people. It's okay. Oh, well, she shouldn't have been protesting. What do you mean? You could just shoot protesters now? This is Germany? Because that's what you're saying. You're saying this is complete authoritarianism. You can just kill citizens. And to you, that's okay.
No, it's not.
Well, she shouldn't have been protesting. She shouldn't have been going against the law. We can kill her for that. In that case, once you get to that point, you're a totalitarian, an authoritarian. Get in the bed.
Oh my God.
I apologize about that. I probably should have shut my camera and microphone, but I didn't. And that's
Got
single
mute. Didn't
parenthood,
take that
ladies and
long to
gentlemen.
mute. Just take that long to mute. Single
Took that
dad,
long for
single
me to get
dad,
aggravated.
single dad.
Took that long for me to be aggravated. So, thank you for that. But regardless, she really, like, I'm listening to this going for like 5 minutes in the background. I'm like, is she going to get it? Maybe she's just going to, she's still going. I'm like, it's cool, Merle. Arr, the angry dad. Arr. So anyhow, anyhow, I guess that's it. You're fine with the fact that Minnesota is going through all that. And in response to the fact that protests are erupting because this cop was a lunatic, instead of Trump saying that he sorry that
Trump can't say anything. Believe me, no matter what Trump says or does, or actually wakes up in the morning, there's nothing this man can do. These people will still hate him more so.
he could have expressed some sort of sympathy for this woman.
No, Donald Trump is lying. Believe me, there's nothing this man can do. Nothing.
Well, lying or not, the fact that he didn't do it at all is worse. I mean, I'm not going to do it because you're going to call me a liar is like, but you didn't do it. Come on, bro. Stop. So instead of expressing some sort of sympathy, his reaction was better. You ready? He's sending 1,000 more troops. Do you think that's the appropriate answer?
You think 1,000 more ICE troops to
Yes,
Minnesota?
yes.
Sure. Again, back to my earlier point about the Somalis and their fraud. We got to put the pressure on that community, and there's nothing racist about that.
He wants to call for the exoneration of the officer Jonathan Roth. He wants to call for Ross, excuse me. He wants to call for Ross's exoneration.
Okay.
So he watched this happen, couldn't defend it after he watched the video, but he wants his private Gestapo protected and wants to call for the exoneration of this officer. Minnesota's trying to investigate further, but federal agents won't let them into the facilities in Minnesota to investigate. No surprise there. This is consistent with Trump administration behavior. So there will be no accountability as long as Trump is allowed to prevent said accountability from occurring. You don't seem sad. You seem satisfied with that. You don't seem like you care.
I'm okay. Again, that like I said, you already see my stance on this issue. I need more answers. It's a tragedy as always. People are going to protest for the sake of protesting. They finally got their Rosa Parks moment to protest. Now it's time to burn Minnesota down. So let's see what happens.
So the hardcore MAGA fans will continue even though U.S. citizens are being murdered by Trump's private Gestapo. Got it. Moving forward, Trump administration claims that Venezuela oil cannot be used as is, and there must be hundreds of millions of dollars in infrastructure for Venezuelan oil to be used. Trump also stated that Venezuelan oil is open to be sold to China and Russia right now. Oh, will be in a few days. I apologize. Even though infrastructure is needed in order to hundreds of millions of dollars of infrastructure is needed, he'll still sell them the oil. While that's happening, China and Russia are acting as if they're not exactly really upset. They're really going to let go that Venezuela was taken. They're looking as if they're willing to support Venezuela militarily. As a MAGA first person, and now Trump is running Venezuela. This country is about to go into civil war, and he's posting freaking reposting memes of civil war in this country. So he's got this country that was at peace when he got in office now at the brink of civil war, or he's using civil war rhetoric. I know it's just Trump being Trump. While Russia and China are talking about very serious conflict with America over Venezuela, while Trump is trying to run that country as well. So, and he's trying to usurp the power there. So he wants to cause a civil war there like he's causing here. What do you think of all of that, America First?
Well, I'm an 80-20 Trumpster. America first, borderline America only. When it comes to America getting involved in international affairs, not so really into that kind of thing. But I will say this, when it comes to the Western Hemisphere, I gotta kind of lean towards where Trump is going with this after further research. Number one, we all, even as a veteran, have to admit there was a well proceeded military operation. Then number two, Maduro was a unelected president, meaning that the election results, he didn't win, but he stayed in power. This is a person you can't vote out of office, these dictators and despots. Number three, Trump also securing the oil, meeting with other oil companies in the White House and actually trying to secure their actual confidence in this project may work out economically for the Americas. Before this actually happened in China and Russia and other countries of not so much our interests, we're getting oil from this country anyway. Why not have it for ourselves and others? And so you see, that's 80-20 Trump. So far, no military deaths or loss, which is great. So if he conducts operations like this militarily to gain peace and our interests and dispose dictators that are staying in office, It's kind of cool, but hopefully it doesn't escalate further. So that's my thoughts.
Before I get into that, yes, that's
Okay, this is
yes,
probably what I
Mia.
said.
Oh no, I'm gonna get to that. Yes, Mia. I said Minnesota and Venezuela are definitely connected.
Oh
And I
God.
think the way they're connected is that indiscriminate violence that's being propagated and protected by the current administration of the United States, and the person in charge would be Donald J. Trump. Who decides to enforce is justified? Congress has just passed a law saying we decide. Trump has been deciding on his own, and Congress just said no more. Power without accountability is dangerous. Yes, Iden, that is what we're looking at. That is what we're looking at. And it does feel like a heavy topic, but thank you. This is what we're here to discuss. Ava, a lot of uncomfortable truths here. We're trying to bring it all to you. Back to the immense amount of statements that was just unloaded by Dion. So, where to begin? Trump trying to run another country while in this country people lost their health care or can't afford their health care, food becoming more unaffordable, citizens getting shot in the street by his Gestapo,
God.
and then bringing in the oil companies who was like, yeah, I spoke to them before we attacked. Now, that would be, the same thing as the Mar-a-Lago thing where he's revealing classified evidence. So his defense of not revealing classified evidence to the oil companies was, well, I asked them, what if we took over Venezuela? I didn't tell them we was going to do it. So who would benefit from these acquisitions of oil from Venezuela, who has the largest oil deposit in the world and is one of the top oil producers on the planet? Oh, anybody with oil. There's companies that are paying for the ballroom, perhaps. I'm sorry, the Exxon and Amoco, the oil companies. They're the ones that would benefit. So Trump gets his ballroom and he has to give them something, right? So he gives them a lot of oil. Let's take over Venezuela. The taxpayers will pay for you to reconstruct the oil, and then y'all make the profit. And America First is good with that.
Well, again, this is an international incident, and so far we haven't suffered any military loss, and it comes actually, excuse me, with our whole agenda. Fine. So far with the president's actions, it seems sound, but hopefully it doesn't lead to other military conflicts. However, I will add this, seeing as though we're talking about oil, let's make it more local and talk about California and how Governor Newsom is running out the oil companies and the independent gas stations that will hurt California, Arizona, and Nevada. So I think President Trump, when it comes to oil, is doing much better than Gavin Newsom in California. So there you have it.
So America First is in support of entering a sovereign country and saying they don't like the election results, much like Trump has done here, and ousting the person in charge because Trump feels that it's his job to police the world and to say what happens in other countries. If he did that in Venezuela because he felt the elections were rigged, then what do you expect him to do here?
Well, I expect him to put the squeeze of Maduro here in New York City to actually tell us what the bodies are buried about much that's going on in South America, especially with other international countries that they've dealt with. So that's a plus. Now that we have this asset called Maduro, who's going to put the squeeze on him, it's going to start squawking like a bird.
The UN, Russia, China, everybody is calling for Maduro's release.
Let them
They're saying,
call collect. Trump's not going to accept, by the way.
I am sure. So Trump is conducting military actions, isolating us from the rest of the planet, and having all of Earth aim their guns toward us. That's America First?
Well, when it comes to pulling out of NATO and certain treaties and where other countries in Europe should be taking care of themselves and we're not their military, yes. When we're withdrawing for a lot of international agreements, yes. where we don't have to finance and military protect other countries and that kind of stuff, that is America first. However, causing all the altercations and strifes in other countries.
Attacking Venezuela is causing confrontations. That's yes. Russia and China.
Okay.
Like, do we want to like? You do understand that he literally took an oil tanker that had oil that China already paid for and just took their oil.
Time to go to the diplomats to negotiate.
How long do you think that Trump can get away with committing these acts without some sort of retaliatory action being taken back on us?
Hopefully forever, because we don't want any more military conflicts. But again, when it comes to this oil and
Is that
Venezuela,
realistic, Dion? Is that realistic?
no, it's not. However, thanks to the precision of this military operation, it will have countries thinking twice about doing anything militarily against us. You see what I mean? Makes
So
sense. Just like
when you
Russia,
have a
Ukraine. Russia, Ukraine is still going on. Now, if Russia would have did a military operation like we did in Ukraine, just got Zelensky out of there and just threw him in jail, we wouldn't be here. But America, say it, Leo, USA, USA, USA.
no, no.
Really?
So last month, a bunch of congressmen and other people in politics came together and created videos reminding our military leaders not to commit unlawful acts, which is something that you learn in boot camp. I can attest to.
It's not
When
got in
Trump
trouble.
sent when Trump sent them into Venezuela, they were committing said unlawful acts. He was doing exactly what they warned him not to do. They're committing unlawful acts. He just invaded a country. This is pure colonialism. We lost our country to colonialism hundreds of years ago, if you're Native American like I am. Not in support of it, no. Not at all. Actually, I'm thoroughly against it. I think that
Well,
the thousands of protests across the world are indicative of the world getting tired. What happens when a school bully takes everybody's lunch money? Eventually, somebody punches him in the face.
oh God. Well, to add to your story, Senator Kelly, seeing as though we're reporting the news, Senator Kelly, the military actually took away his retirement pay. Pentagon to cut Senator Kelly's military retirement pay after alleging reckless misconduct. So they're accusing Senator Kelly of reckless misconduct as a result of all that hype and putting batteries in the military back to actually disobey orders. So there are consequences for your words. Free speech is one thing, but if it puts others in danger, there could be a consequence. Isn't that amazing?
Apparently, when you have an administration without accountability, consequence becomes subjective. Apparently, Trump doesn't understand the word consequence. I believe he was quoted as saying that he doesn't have to go by anybody else's rules, only his own.
I don't think he said that, but okay.
That's basically what he said. It's not the exact words, but that's what he said.
Always putting words in this man's mouth. Always. You didn't say
Thank you,
it,
Ava. Thank you, Emil. People on the
Let's
ground
use that
always
chat.
pay the price. That's the fact with Renee. Thank you, Emil. Power really changes how rules get applied. Antoine, is that the truth or what? Power does make those changes because depending on who got the power, that determines the rules, and that's on left and right side. That doesn't just apply to Trump. Biden proved that too. Trump has escalated it to the utmost, and yeah, we're trying to have these hard conversations. And I thank Dion for being a good sport because he actually seems to believe a lot of the stuff he says, which makes it interesting and good because we can apply
I'm
it to you
center
people.
left. You see what I'm saying? We use ration and reason. For example, Donald Trump didn't say that. Can you put up a quote or clip where Donald Trump actually said some of the things that are alleged by the mainstream media? The answer is no. It's always the
Uh,
sentiment of Trump. He's evil, therefore he must have said this. 3,000 people. 59 likes. Keep it coming, guys. Keep this algorithm going.
So, oh, it's only on the New York Times. I'm not subscribed to New York Times. That gives me a problem. But I will show you exactly what he said since I misquoted. And I wasn't quoting, but now we can get the quote. President Donald Trump reportedly told the New York Times that his own morality serves as the thing that could potentially limit his global powers, adding that he doesn't need international law. So, part of a wide ranging interview with the New York Times published Thursday, Trump was asked Wednesday were there any limits to his global powers. Yeah, there's one thing: my own morality, my own mind. It's the only thing that can stop me. He doesn't have to abide by international laws. He only has to abide by his own morality, which, as we watch American citizens get shot in the face and boats be bombed, seems to lack. Seems that there's a lack. As we watch people get defrauded, as we watch healthcare get taken away, as he wanted to take away food stamps from millions of hungry children, his morality doesn't seem to be something I would want to rely on. And yet that's the only thing that he feels is going to be able to slow his reign for his attempt to have global dominance. In response, the school bully being bigger than everybody else can go and take a bunch of lunch money. But once one guy stands up and punches him in the face, even if he loses the fight, he can encourage others. And then they jump the bully.
You see, as a citizen of the United States of America, sure, that's all well and good. However, I would like to support the president of the United States in hopes
Like you supported
that
Biden?
help.
Like you supported Biden?
No, I supported this president. I didn't support.
Hold up. So you're not going to support any president. You want to support Trump. Let's be clear.
I'm supporting Trump because I believe the 2020 election was stolen. And more information, thanks to Fulton County's public admission these days, comes out that yes, the 2020 election was stolen. So I will put that out there. You can call me a tinfoil hat wearer in this conspiracy world, but yes, that's why I support Trump more so. And I deny Biden because he was the illegitimate president. How's that sound with the pre-pardons dated to 2014? Thank you, family, for listening.
The evidence that
Uh-oh.
Trump knew that the election was not rigged are absolutely insurmountable when looking at what Jack Smith released. Even even Republican congressmen are like, "Oh shit, we messed up."
Look at the Fulton County. Look at the Fulton County reports now with their Board of Elections board. They're admitting, yes, there were hundreds of thousands of ballots that were illegitimate. Take a look at those reports now. Oh, of course, the media's not gonna put it in your face.
Why don't you pull that up? Why don't you pull that up and watch me show where it's a lie? Or maybe I'm wrong, because that happens. Liam, the world really does feel tense right now. Yeah, we're on the brink of World War III. Putin already said we're already in it. This conversation really highlights how power works differently depending on who holds it. Yes,
Well,
Emma.
I'm about to share my screen. Hopefully, everybody pays attention as there's a little bit of a lag. Let me know if the family sees it. Okay,
Well,
here we
up
go.
until it showed, you could have let me finish with the comments in the box. That was nice.
Oh, okay, you told me to share it. Okay. Ready?
You're sharing it now, but you didn't have to interrupt while I was talking to the people.
All right, well, family, if you simply put in your search engine, even Google these days, Fulton County elections vote fraud. Here it is. Fulton County admits to verifying 315,000 votes in 2020.
What does that mean?
Here we go. Let's go to this article here from Atlanta News first, shall we?
Sure. Fire away.
Fulton County admits to verifying 315,000 votes in 2020 without poll worker signatures. Revelation fueled flames for voters who still have doubts about controversial election. Here we go. First paragraph, family. Fulton County. Remember Fannie Lewis? Nah, we should forget her. Anyway, Fulton County officials admitted they did not properly sign tabular tapes after the 2020 election, a violation of state regulations. The county also noted it had misplaced other tabular tapes and documents related to the controversial election. Leo, do I need to go, or should I just say these votes, the six figures they're in, could actually have swayed the election towards President Trump? I'll leave this
Fulton
review.
County. So we have,
Georgia.
where's Fulton County?
Georgia. You don't remember Fannie Willis? Fannie Willis, Fulton County. You don't remember that court case? Of course
Right, right.
not, because she messed up, and the media's not gonna put it in your face on loop every day, all day, like they did when she went after President Trump on the campaign trail. She fell flat on her fanny face, if you ask me.
Okay, so there was actually a county in Atlanta, in Georgia. So there was a county in a city where they miscounted, where there seems to maybe have been corruption. Maybe not, maybe not. Maybe people did not do their job properly. That doesn't prove fraud, but it is a possibility. So there might be one county in the country where this was proven. Well, no, where it was shown where the possibility existed, and you want to rest your entire case on one county.
Well, that just go. His 315,000 votes would have made the difference in Georgia, and if Trump would have won Georgia, he probably won the whole shebang, my friend. But
Or
that's just
maybe
one
not, but
example
that's
out of many of voter fraud in which 2020 election was stolen. You see, I didn't believe in these things until I got deeper into this world on the right. And I'm like, wow, these people actually have a point. January 6th probably was an inside job. If they're lying about the Dr. Fauci ouchie, and we're finding out all this information now, I think maybe the news did lie to us. 2020 was the old Leo. I'm sorry.
that is not enough evidence there. You have some. There's not enough evidence there to say anything. There's enough evidence to say that something is wrong, but to say the election was stolen, I think you're stretching. But when you're in a situation where your commander in chief is a felon and continues to commit hundreds and hundreds of felonious acts, I guess you have to stretch it and pull at any straw you can find. So I do understand why you're doing it. So back to Emma. The conversations highlight his power work differently depending on who holds it, definitely. What's happening in Minnesota and Venezuela may look separate on the surface, but the common thread, thank you, is how forces get justified and how rarely real accountability follows. Ordinary people end up carrying the consequences while those in power argue narratives. Thank you. Emma's dropping it. It's uncomfortable to sit with, but necessary if we actually want change instead of repeating the same cycles. These are the kind of discussions we need more. Thank you
Can I
so
share the
much,
screen
Emma.
again, please? Can I share the screen again, please?
Sure.
Excellent, my friend. Because what you're about to see actually corroborates what I'm alluding to, these vocabulary words. Now, as you can clearly see here from this map of Georgia in 2020, it says here Biden narrowly won Georgia over Trump by a margin of 0.23%, 23%, 0.23%, and only 11,779 votes. But if you recall from earlier, over 300,000 votes, Leo. 300,000. That's all it took to sway this election towards Trump.
To
And that's the
sway
thing.
one state, but he won by more than one state. So if you're done, can we move on because there's other
Let's move
things to
on. Yeah, you
discuss?
don't want to hear those kind of facts. Keep going. Yes.
No, the
Let's
facts
next
don't.
thing
The
on the
facts you're
docket.
saying that he might have been able to swing a state, but that state wouldn't have won him the election. So it wasn't enough electoral votes in that one state to swing the election. So all of that, and we can move on. Canada, Denmark, and EU might be at war with the US. Trump is steadily, because we're losing viewers on this. We've lost like 500 viewers. Nobody wants to hear this. The stuff you're saying it doesn't make sense. We've lost hundreds of viewers. Let's try and get the viewership back up, talking about things that matter right now, like the fact that Trump is trying to draw us into a war with not only Russia and China, but all of NATO and the EU, right? So he's steadily talking about what he's going to do to Greenland. Let's talk about Greenland
Sure.
because this is important. Trump administration claims that Venezuela, no, that's the Venezuelan oil, excuse me. Where is the Greenland? I didn't make many notes. Okay, I don't need them for Greenland. This is simple. So Greenland is a part of Denmark. Denmark is a part of NATO. It's a country in Europe. It's part of the European Union, the EU. So that's what we're talking about. Greenland, which there's only really two direct paths from the Eastern Hemisphere to the Western Hemisphere, from where Europe and China and Africa are to where the US is. There's only two direct paths. One is through the Panama Canal, the other one passes through Greenland. If you're flying here from Europe, you're probably flying over Greenland or right near Greenland. So that is the reason that that territory is so important to the US. But it doesn't belong to the US. It belongs to the EU, Denmark, who founded it. Trump's rhetoric about, oh, well, maybe they landed there first, maybe other people landed there too, is crazy. Trump's rhetoric about going and taking it from them is war talk. He's like, oh, maybe we'll pay every citizen $1 million if they, want to join us. Yo, you don't want to give food stamps to millions of people here, but you want to pay citizens in another country? Is that America first, Dion?
Well, just like Venezuela, it's the same Trump 80-20 perspective for people like me. That's America first, borderline America only. This is another international incident in which we're putting resources into that may have long-term benefits. However, we have other priorities here at home. Now, mind you, again, the president does have a point that Greenland position in the world is actually attractive to some of our, not so nice enemies like Russia and other interests that don't go alongside with us. But hey, here we are. Hopefully it doesn't happen, but if it does, hopefully it'll be a nice, quick and easy operation like we did in Venezuela, and then we have another acquisition, as they say.
So you're good with the U.S. trying to go into Denmark and take Greenland?
If it's a smooth military conflict like it was in Venezuela, yes. However, I don't think it's a good idea at all to just let it be, leave it as is, but the man's going in that direction.
You are aware that Canada and several countries in NATO have said if the U.S. sets foot in Greenland, they're attacking us. You do understand that Trump is about to put us in a position to go to war with Europe, that as soon as he attempts his war action, that's not the words he used, it's what he's doing, that we're going to be in World War III. Are you understanding that?
Okay, yeah. You see, the thing about it is Europe needs us, Leo. These people all talk. So I'll be very impressed if Canada attacks us. I'll be very impressed.
I don't think you understand. Maybe that's just a lack of understanding. So let's talk about it. You do understand that Canada is not going to give up their sovereignty, and that Trump has been threatening to take their sovereignty from them. So them stepping foot in Greenland. You do understand that Canada is not trying to have their sovereignty taken from them, and they've watched Venezuela get taken, and they're watching the U.S. talk about taking Greenland next. So of course, Canada has to feel like, well, if you can get Canada and Greenland, if you can get Venezuela and Greenland, then you're going to come after us. So if we don't defend Greenland, who's going to defend us? They have no choice. We're being looked at like Russia right now. We let you take one place, you're going to go for it all. So the same way they got to stand up to Russia and Ukraine and back Ukraine, they got to stand up to the United States and back Greenland. He's putting us in a path to World War III. This episode really highlights how unstable the global situation feels. Thank you, Robert. From local issues to Minnesota to international tension to Venezuela, everything feels connected by power. Everybody's seeming to get this. Thank you, Robert. I appreciate it. Canada is a part of the reason the Geneva Convention list is so long. History lesson. Thank you, Chrisby. So you're talking about attacking sovereign nations. You think they're just going to sit by and let the nation next door to them get attacked, knowing that they're next on the list? Do you think that's what's up? Do you think that's even a possibility?
Yes. See how easy that was? Yes. Unfortunately, we're the number one, I should say that. Let's just say America's military power with Donald Trump at the helm as the commander-in-chief is going to make all these countries talk tough. But remember what the FAFO policy is, Leo?
Thank you, Surety.
You
We're
see,
trying.
the more you F around, the more you're going to find out. And that's what happens here. So I'm just going to put that up there as an 80-20 Trumpster.
Okay, so you're going hard now with defending this guy's colonialist war crimes. Got it.
Right.
I guess there's no bounds for blind loyalty. So then let me explain something to you. That's cultish. Secondly, and without fail, if you go after the rest of the world, eventually you're going to be defeated. No one has ever controlled the entire planet. It can't be done.
I
You
thought it
can
was
do so.
Alexander the Great.
Alexander the Great never stepped foot in the Americas. So he controlled a little portion of the world where he was at. No one has ever controlled.
Nimrod. Remember him? Tower of Babel?
Never stepped foot in America. No one has ever controlled the entire planet. It can't be done.
Here we go. Well, we're not here to talk
Well,
about that.
unless now, if you want to talk about biblical, the only person that's ever supposed to come and control the entire planet is the Antichrist. That's the only person biblically that's able to do it. It's in Revelation.
But you don't believe in that, so
I don't. But if you wanted to bring up the Bible, the only person that's supposed to be able to do it.
Nimrod existed. That historically speaking, he did an epic of Gilgamesh. Remember that? Oh, well, we're not here to talk about that, family. Let's get back to politics. As is.
The only person to ever do it is supposed to be the Antichrist. So if you want to go by the Bible, then Trump is your Antichrist. And people hail him as the next coming of Jesus, as God sent, and all of the stuff that the Bible said the Antichrist would be hailed as. So, if you want to go with the Bible, go with the Bible. All right. The world really does feel on edge lately, and this episode explains why I better never thank you. It's scary how often force is used first and accountability comes later, if it comes at all. These are the discussions people need to be having. Thanks, Chris. I, for one, am a little nervous. This thing seems to be getting worse and far scarier. I don't know how MAGA is able to sleep at night. I mentioned the ACA earlier, and I want to throw a quick one in. I did not update ACA subsidies being extended. ACA is the Affordable Care Act, also known as Obamacare, which protects millions of Americans from having to pay exuberant prices and keeps it so that the healthcare is affordable. The House has passed the bill to extend the Affordable Care Act. Hakeem Jeffries is ecstatic. The Clintons might get divorced over some of the pictures that appeared of Bill Clinton in the Epstein files. I know you're happy about that because anything to take away from Trump.
Who's happy about divorce? The Clintons were a powerful family, so why would I be happy with that?
Oh, so you're sad that, they're talking about Clinton instead of Trump in the Epstein files? That was a question.
Oh, okay. I thought that was okay. Well, let's just say this. I'm sorry to see that this may happen, but it is what it is, unfortunately. So far, Trump and Bubba's names are all over the Epstein files. And looks like somebody has to suffer the consequences. And it's going to be Bubba, not Trump. But let's see who else name is in those files, for example, to help these victims out.
Don't you think for a moment that Trump is going to escape accountability for these files? So the day before he was supposed to explain why names were being redacted in these files, the day before he was supposed to explain why perpetrators were being protected, the day before he was supposed to present this information to the court, he invaded Venezuela. Somehow it almost appears as if that was a distraction. Almost. So we all know that Trump is willing to do anything, including invade countries, to not discuss these files because he's invaded a country to avoid discussing the files. He did that to change the subject. We did not forget about you. Right now, he has an ICE agent that unalived a woman, and that's the latest distraction. Anything but talking about protecting himself with the Epstein files. Now he's talking about going into Greenland. Is he talking about another invasion the very next week so that we don't get back to the Epstein files? The world may never know. So, Christy Noam, who's head of the Department of Homeland Security, who is over ICE, is now facing impeachment charges based on terrorism of neighborhoods, of cities and local neighborhoods, like what happened with Renee Goode when she was accosted, assaulted, when she was unalived, using money illegally like private jets. Are you happy that that Renee Goode is the woman who was unalive under Christie Nome, that she lied to protect the person that committed the crime, Jonathan Roth. Are you happy that Christie Nome is going to seek justice for her lies and her theft and corruption?
Well, they're calling for her resignation, yes?
They're talking about impeachment.
Well, same situation. They're talking about impeaching her. Let's just see them do it. That's it. If Congress feels as though she did something egregious or she's egregiously incompetent, whatever the case may be, over the Department of what is she in charge of? Homeland Security, then let's do it. They want to impeach Robert F. Kennedy. They want to impeach who else did they try? Oh, Pete Hegseth, the Secretary of the Department of you know what. Then let's go. But you see, the thing is, the word impeachment is like has little meaning now because Congress has overplayed its hand. I just want to see them do it. That's it, Leo.
So basically, accountability is now a joke to you because
Well,
impeachment
the
is
Democrats
accountability.
made it a joke because they keep all these characters on the Democratic side calling for impeachment, and then their leadership, like Hakeem Jeffries and Chuck Schumer, telling them to sit down and fall back on that one. It can't be taken seriously. So,
Yeah, Chris, I agree. It's scary how often force is first and accountability comes last. Ray Ration, from domestic unrest to international politics, the parents are the same. Power moves fast, justice moves slow. That is what we're watching, but accountability is coming. Trump, if he lives long enough in his decaying state, both mentally and physically, if he's around, he will see justice. But I think the reason he's moving the way he is because he knows his time is short, and accountability, he knows he won't face it in this life. That's why he's saying things like, I'm not going to heaven, because he knows the things he's doing is not going to get him there, but he's going to play his hand all the way. And why do you think he's saying these things, Dion? Because he is saying these things.
well, I'm gonna say the same thing I usually say consistently. That's just Trump being Trump. Well, there you have it, everybody.
So Secret Service was called on Marjorie Taylor Greene. Is this Trump doing Trump being Trump again? Same thing he went after Letitia James, same way he went after his old attorney. Looking at his face and can't call his name. It's just him, trying to weaponize the justice system.
Um, excuse me. I don't know. That's the answer. Marjorie Taylor Greene is no longer in Congress,
But he's
but
called the Secret Service on her.
well, Trump, we all know, does a lot of tactics that's out there.
That
And
is a very serious tactic.
well, then what's the consequence, Leo?
Obviously, there is no accountability until he's impeached. There's no accountability. He could just call the police on somebody and have them investigated for no reason.
Wait a
Meanwhile,
minute, they did the same thing to him when he was running for office. They
no, they
actually
didn't do the
invaded
same thing to.
Mar-a-Lago and actually took for documents that
Oh
he
no,
had
they
there. So
actually.
Joe Biden did the same thing.
Well, no, their accountability is coming because they've proven that he did do these things. The tapes are out with him saying, admitting in his own voice that he was doing these things. He didn't even like he's caught on tape. The tapes were released. He's like, "Oh man, can you believe it? If I was in office, I'd be able to declassify these things, but I can't declassify them. Check it out." So he was showing classified documents that he'd taken to Mar-a-Lago where he knew they weren't declassified and showing them to people and caught on tape doing it. So no. It is not the same thing. As a matter of fact, asset seizure has already begun for some of his other felonies. Letitia James, who he tried to go use the Justice Department to go after, with that attempt fail, is now in charge of trying to recover some of the monies that he's trying to move around, that he got caught trying to move around. And so they froze his assets, and now they're trying to figure out how to liquidate them or maybe run them themselves and get their money back. But Trump's about to lose things like 7 seasons because he was guilty. So it's not the same. He was guilty. And while all this is going on, while he's threatening Venezuela, while he took Venezuela and took control of it, while he is about to attack Greenland, while Canada is getting ready to join the NATO and the rest of the EU to attack the US, while at our northern border, and EU is at our eastern border. That's what's east is Greenland. So that's north and east. South, Mexico has thousands of troops lined up at the border. Now you got to have a visa to get in there. They're not just letting people in. So we're surrounded. While we have internal conflict of ICE agents, his private Gestapo, unaliving American citizens. We're surrounded with an internal conflict. That is the state of affairs at the present moment. Are you understanding this? Under your president who had the election stolen, election fraud, because he was telling the truth about that, but, you know, he's still mad about the Nobel Peace Prize as he has the United States surrounded with guns pointed at us. And internal conflict where American citizens are being unalived by his private police force. And if you have a disagreement with anything I just said, point out the hole, please. There is none. It's flawless.
Okay, well, I guess that's all we have for you tonight then. Donald Trump is always up to no good, family. So always, what's he gonna do next? Oh, he's hiding under my bed. Well, listen.
Oh, he bombed Syria. He bombed Syria. That's what he did. He bombed Syria.
So was Iran.
I think Iran is next.
Yeah, a lot of things happening. There's a lot of unrest.
Right. Your peacetime president that wants Nobel Peace Prize took Venezuela, bombed Syria, is about to bomb Iran, is going to war is threatening to go to war with the EU. Your peacetime president. Your peacetime president.
Yeah, Iran, Syria. Yeah, this is not good, man. This is where the 20% of me is like, yeah, this is not good. But again, I believe that there's powers behind the scenes that's actually.
Oh, so now he goes from being the greatest to being somebody else's fault. That is the cult. That is the cult.
Senator Lindsey Graham. I've never seen Senator Lindsey Graham look so happy in my life when he was on Air Force One with Trump smiling and so giddy with all these attacks. That's when you know these people over here, America First. That's where Tucker Carlson and Candace Owens and Steve Bannon and some other conservative leaders are solely disappointed with these military conflicts. So I'm in that vein of thoughts.
Well, you didn't say that about Greenland and Venezuela and Canada, but now that you realize that there's more and more.
That's because that's on the Western Hemisphere, my friend. We don't have much threats on the Western Hemisphere, but we're going over there to the East, especially the Middle East. Ugh.
Okay, so let's bring it all together, which I just did that you missed. So while he's already taken Venezuela to our south, while Mexico is lining up troops, thousands of troops at the border to our south, to our east, we have the EU lining up behind Greenland. To our north, we have Canada preparing to go to war if we attack Greenland or attack them. They're preparing for war with us. So that's our north, our east, and our south. There's nothing to the west. So to the west, we don't have to worry. But we have internal conflict as well, as there are protests arising all around the country because of his private Gestapo shooting in the face American citizens. We are at a war at every side, internally, and attacking the other side of the planet all at once. No, Donald Trump's not evil, right? Donald Trump's not the bad guy. We're surrounded with people pointing guns at us while we're attacking the other side of the planet with an internal civil war brewing.
Well,
what does it take for MAGA to open their eyes?
MAGA has opened its eyes. That's what I'm saying. There's so many fractures right now. I just listed 3 key MAGA supporters that are fractured over this. I said Steve Bannon, I said Tucker Carlson, I said Candace Owens, who all vote and support Donald Trump. However, with these activities, they're questioning a lot and they're actually withdrawing their support. But at the end of the day, this man can't run for a 3rd term. Aren't you happy? But there is a lot of.
Well, he's saying it. He's got the 2028 hats in his desk.
Elections are going to be something else, my friend.
He won't be around for a 3rd term. His decaying body won't last that long. He's trying to do as much damage as he can. I don't think he calls it damage. He's trying to do as much as he can to leave a legacy behind. And I think he's going to try and take the rest of the world. And I think that he wants to run this. I think he wants to be the world leader. And I think I think he really is going about it in the most sinister way and trying to take over the U.S. This is the Red Scare. I don't know what to even call it. It's not the Red Scare. This is the most dangerous time of this country's existence since this country was stolen from the Native Americans. I think that if we go to war with every country around, I don't care how strong your military is, you can't beat everybody. You can't, like, yo, I could be the best fighter in the world, but if you put me in a room with 10 fighters, you're going to want stomping on me. I might knock out 4 or 5 of them before they get me, but eventually somebody's going to get me. Especially if I have internal conflict, especially if I got a bubbling stomach and I got diarrhea and I'm trying to fight 10 people. Like, I'm trying to hold it in and I'm trying to punch you in the face. Like, you can't have internal and external conflict and be surrounded by all sides. A two-front war is a losing proposition. That's a two-front war. We're talking about north, south, and east. That's 3 fronts. And then the internal conflict is a 4th front. The country is in dire situation because of Trump right now. Full stop. And that's where we stand. That is the state of affairs. This is actually pretty serious. Like, if he might have been able to beat 2 fronts. He might have been the unicorn that could take 2 fronts. 3 fronts and internal conflict, impossible. No way. No way. No way. Russia, China, EU, Canada, like, what? Like, how could the United States fight all of
Trump
them?
against the world, and we all know what happens when Trump is against the world. So we'll see. But again,
While
ain't nobody Trump's
fighting
I don't
on
like
the
some of these
inside.
conflicts.
While fighting on the inside. And then there's the Middle East. So now you got internal conflict with American citizens and you're attacking Middle East countries. And now you got to worry about terrorism on top of it. Like, yo, this dude is wilding right now.
He sure is.
Okay, see that? There we go.
We
Now,
can agree on that.
yeah. I'm glad to see that. All right, thank you everybody for coming. Oh, Dion asked a question, but we're not gonna get to it. It's 10:30, 10:29. We're gonna get out of here. Thank you everybody for all the support. We hope to see you next week. There's episodes every day. Dion, you want to say anything?
Remember, family, we are the media, and now so are you. So just share this content after you like and subscribe, but adding your own content on top of it and your own breakdown of what we had to say. You may agree, disagree, but put your facts out there because we can't trust to pay attention to the regular snooze.
All right. Thank you, everybody. Have a good night. This is Leon Dion signing out.